It's hard to quantify these things without specific numbers, but we found in the offices that we worked at that when we work on heavy BIM files, I mean, you're talking about you have to have an extremely fast machine, and even then, everything grinds to a halt. Do you guys find that you have to constantly upgrade your equipment, the hardware, to keep up with the software?
I will say probably 6 years ago, I found that, and at that point, we were a 5-person firm. Today, the way we're working, no, it's really not an issue. I mean, everyone in the office is on a MacBook Pro. Wow. They're all the fastest computer that you can buy within that model. They're all 15-inch MacBook Pros. They're all portable, so we're all able to move around the office or take it to a client meeting, take it to an on-site meeting and have the model open. We can download the file for that purpose if we need it. I think the graphics card is the key. And when we got to that 400 unit project, the graphics card was really important. Mm-hmm. But it's the same computer that an awful lot of people use at home. I'll be really honest with you. If they, want a nice laptop, we're all on Mac, and that's just a choice that I made years ago. And so, yeah, they're a slightly more expensive computer than a PC, but it's not like it's this extraordinarily expensive piece of hardware. We as an office tend to upgrade the machines every 3 to 4 years. Mm-hmm. And it does mean that we usually sell the machines that we're phasing out and we buy the next one, but we buy the same machine effectively 2, 3, 4 years later. It's just the newer version. I think one of the things that I really enjoyed about growing this business and trying to figure out how to work with technology is there was a period where I was doing all this myself, and I would call AppleCare when something came up. And one day I had a server, a separate drive in my machine that the other folks in the office were connecting to. That was our server. And somebody must have plugged in a thumb drive. Maybe I did, and it must have the same name that the server drive did. And our server drive just disappeared. And so I reached out to Apple and I said, I need a recommendation for an IT consultant. They gave me 3. One was really malleable and wanted to just sort of solve the question at hand and talk about just how to help me function the way I needed to function. And so I hired them. And so they helped us build our platform. And I just simply listened, things they suggested. Sometimes I was a little concerned, hey, get everybody on a laptop. Well, why should I do that? They're a little more expensive. They're maybe not as fast. And they said, but it's going to give you so much more flexibility. And so where we are now is everybody in the office has a laptop, has a secondary display they connect to in the office. Yeah, I'm ecstatic that that's the path I took.
Yeah, I find that really interesting because the mode of working on a laptop is such a 21st century millennial thing. Let's go to a cafe and sit on a couch by the kombucha bar and work on our laptop. And I don't know if you guys have a kombucha bar, but it's I think we all kind of assume that that applies for journalists, for bloggers, for that kind of stuff. But anything for lightweight kinds of uses. But for architecture, you would just assume, no, I have to have a desktop because I need that horsepower.
And I used to have 2 machines. I had a laptop that I could take around, and I had a desktop on my desk. And this person said to me, "You've got to get to one computer." This is a huge issue again with redundancy and files and where's what. I would actually log into my desktop from home with a remote desktop, which I know a lot of people use on the PC side of things. Yeah. And I just found it for the files that I was using that didn't work. If you're opening up a spreadsheet, that's not too bad. But when you're opening up a 100 meg, a 300 meg file, that's just not going to function. So I'm sitting with my office laptop in my home doing this with you, and there's just no issues. And I'm running multiple projects at a time during the day, and the rest of my staff does too. So I think that's something I would note is no one in the office works on only one project at a time, and so they may have 3 or 4 copies of the program going and be working on, an interior of a climbing gym, schematic design of an apartment, working drawings on another apartment or a house, And, you know, we're doing all of that within this one platform. So I think we use technology at a pretty efficient and high level. And we've learned through this, you know, unusual experience we're all going through of working from home, that we were really lucky that we had it set up ahead of time.